There are many famous battle sites from the years of the American Civil War scattered all across the eastern United States. Places such as Shiloh, Fredericksburg, Gettysburg, Bull Run, Atlanta, Charleston, and Vernon? That's right, folks. There was a Civil War battle near Vernon, Florida, right in the heart of the Florida Panhandle. Well, to be fair, it was more like a shouting match with rifles involved, and just a few dozen Washington County Confederate home guardsmen were involved. Here's how it went down. Union Brigadier General Alexander Asboth, a Hungarian native who had relocated to the United States in 1851, was at the head of a column of Union troops who were fresh from action at the Battle of Mariana, which had occurred on September 27, 1864. Asboth and his men had come from Fort Barrancas near Pensacola to raid the panhandle town of Mariana, which happened to be the home of Florida's Confederate governor, John Milton. In the absence of all the fighting-aged men and boys, local communities were instructed to form home guards for protection from Union raiders. Vernon, which was then a village of around 150 people, was the seat of Washington County, which was then well over twice the size that it is today. On this 1863 map, Vernon is labeled as Holmes Valley. The Vernon Home Guard was under the command of William B. Jones, a former second lieutenant of Company K of the 6th Florida Infantry. The Home Guard was composed of mostly older men, beyond their fighting prime, but ornery nonetheless. After sustaining several injuries in the Battle of Mariana, General Asboth decided to quit while he was ahead and hightail it back towards Pensacola. On the morning of September 28th, he and his roughly 700-man force had made their way from Mariana along the road to Orange Hill, burned a few barns, and had a nice lunch. Meanwhile, William B. Jones at Vernon had just received word, too late, that Mariana was under attack and had requested aid, so he called up the Vernon Home Guard and had them head toward Mariana, up the same road that General Asboth was headed down on his return trip. Neither side was aware of the other. Suddenly, the two numerically lopsided groups of soldiers met on either side of Hard Labor Creek, where there was a small wooden bridge at the main crossing. The 700-man Union force demanded the surrender of the couple dozen Vernon Home Guardsmen. A 46-year-old Vernon farmer named Stephen Pierce, formerly a private in Company H of the 4th Florida Infantry, responded to this demand by cussing his Union captives, and the resulting verbal assault led to gunfire, during which Pierce was killed and the Vernon men were scattered or captured. Those not captured ran the 5 or 6 miles back toward Vernon. W.B. Jones, the commander, was among those captured, as was a man by the name of Freeman Irwin, who was Washington County's delegate to the Florida Secession Convention of 1861. Now, it's worth noting here that most citizens of the Central Panhandle at that time were indifferent about the Civil War, and Governor Milton is quoted as saying, "In the counties bordering the Gulf, and especially Washington County, there are many deserters." And Governor Milton also said, "The sheriff of the county and others who are persons of influence have gone to the enemy." He went on to assert his fears that the area would be easily overtaken by the Union in the winter of 1864, but of course we now know he didn't have to wait that long. Several of the captured Vernon men died at various Union prison camps. W.B. Jones made it back home alive after the war, feeble, but able to live another 30 years. Stephen Pierce was buried at the Hard Labor Church Cemetery near the spot where he fell, and the story of the Battle of Vernon was relegated to local legend and lore for another 150-plus years. It was an insignificant local skirmish that had zero consequence on a war of great consequence.